A Xenoblade XDE Chapter 13 gave us a lot, and I mean a lot, to just enjoy. Okay, Xenoblade X, we already know the main story wasn't really all that great, at least in like execution. Objectively, it wasn't that strong of a story compared to the rest of the series, but objectively, it's probably my favorite story in the whole series. I don't know what it is, but I usually tend to like the least popular things within any given like medium. Like here, Xenoblade X has my favorite story in the series, and it's typically rated the lowest, or quote the worst. Just like I really like Xenosaga 2, even though it's considered quote the worst game in the Saga trilogy. Xenoblade 2 is my favorite game, but we all know the controversies around Xenoblade 2, so I don't know. I always tend to have like controversial, contrarian takes, and like most of the time it's not even on purpose. However, I'm getting off track. Anyway, Xenoblade X, its story wasn't really the strongest. And then chapter 13, the story was a lot stronger, because here they actually had like the resources and time and the focus to focus on the story. The main focus of chapter 13 was its story. There wasn't like this huge world they had to build up for us to explore. The focus wasn't exploration, it was the story. So the story felt a lot more engaging and fleshed out, at least to me it did. And there are a lot of things that I like about chapter 13. Okay, Al, seeing the Vita back, the whole thing about Void, obviously the Xenosaga connections, okay, with the collective unconscious, the ringed planet at the end, the fucking purple conduit. However, my favorite thing about chapter 13 was the backstory we got on Elma. Okay, that wasn't really one of the big main like focuses of chapter 13, but it really did stick out, and I enjoyed it quite a bit. And by extension, it was the expanded lore about the Samarians. I've always been super interested in the Samarians and who they were, and exactly like how they went extinct. What happened to them? How come we never saw any Samarians in the base game of Xenoblade X? Like way back, the original Xenoblade X and even DE, like how come we never saw the Samarians? We just hear about them, but we don't ever really see them or anything that they've created. They are brought up in the quest, The Old Gods. It's a Zarubagan quest that you get after some pretty hefty prerequisites. But we do get a little backstory about the Samarians, about how the Zarubagan were actually created by the Samarians to clean up the pollution that they left behind. So kind of like their waste management species, and the pollution is called voltant, but the Zarubagan were created to clean up this voltant and basically just clean up the waste from the Samarians. So that's some cool like world building in that. I don't have any footage of this quest as I haven't done it yet, because I do have a video planned about the Samarians and the lore on all of them, so I haven't done this quest yet for some background footage. But anyway, we haven't really learned anything about the Samarians except for that quest called The Old Gods, so there wasn't really a whole lot to go off of. But chapter 13 expanded a lot on the Samarians, and by extension Elma. I really enjoyed Elma's expanded backstory, because throughout the whole game she's just this stoic, stone-faced leader, fearless leader who's never worried about anything. Like throughout the whole game she never lets her guard down. She's always super confident in everything she's doing, staying calm. But here in chapter 13, she really lets her more emotional and vulnerable side out. We see a lot more of a sensitive and vulnerable side to Elma in chapter 13. And I really enjoyed that, because it's such a big shift from how she usually is in the base game. Okay, going on talking about the pain she endured, and it's really sad, because Elma's had to hop between like 3 universes already. She needs a break. She's been going through a lot. All right, fucking Void shows up to her planet for the Ares, bringing the ghost along. So her home planet and universe gets destroyed, so she sets out to the Earth universe to warn humans, like with the Ares, to warn humans about the war that's coming. And then fucking Earth gets destroyed and that universe, so now she has to hop over to another universe of Mira, and then that planet and universe gets fucking destroyed again by the ghosts for the third time, and now she has to hop to a fourth universe. Like Elma she just can't catch a break. She's been hopping universes for like half her goddamn life. She needs a break. And just like, imagine the amount of pain. Like you have to, like, I'm kind of surprised she's not just numb and desensitized to this kind of thing, considering she's gone through it 3 times before already, where her home gets destroyed by the fucking ghosts, so she has to hop to a new one. As soon as she's starting to get accustomed to that one, here come the ghost again, destroying her home, just so she has to hop to another universe. Finally starts settling down on that planet. Oh, it looks like we have to do it again. It's like, damn, bro, imagine the PTSD she must have from seeing these goddamn ghosts. She just can't rest. But just like peering into her more and like seeing her more sensitive side as she pours her heart out about the pain that she experienced from her home world being destroyed by the ghosts. She has to take the Ares to warn humanity, and she's constantly fleeing and on the run from these ghosts. It's really nice to see, because Elma is not an emotional character at all. You'd never expect to see something like that from her at any point, but it was so cool to see. It was so nice. And even more, Lynn got some more backstory as well, or at least some more character development. We didn't get so much like backstory on her as we did for Elma, like learning that Elma's actually a fucking Samarian, or at least like a closer relative to Samarians than humans were. So, and she came from a highly advanced like Samarian descendant civilization. We saw what her planet looked like. That shit was gorgeous, right? Peace-loving race who was like really advanced. It was so cool. Just it was so nice learning more about Elma and the Samarians. Like, I've been wanting to learn more about those two a lot. Like, if y'all remember, I was talking about it, and I had so many like questions about Elma. Like, where did she come from? What race is she? Is she a ghost? Like, how did she know the war between the aliens and Ganglion was going to happen? How did she come to Earth with all this technology? Where did it all come from? And all of those answers, or all of those questions, were answered in chapter 13. She came from her own planet in her own separate fucking universe. She is a relative of Samarians, descendant of the Samarians, who were super advanced. Her civilization was super advanced, so that's how she got all the technology, and that's how she knew the war was coming, because literally it happened to her home planet. The war between the Ganglion and the ghosts, or at least in her case it was the Samarians and the ghosts, which, I mean, Ganglion are technically Samarian because part of the nation. Not getting into all of that, but that's how she knew about the war coming to Earth, because she knew Void was searching to like destroy humanity, at least the Ganglion side of. So, but all the questions I had about Elma were answered in the epilogue, so I was so happy to learn about that, and then just more lore on the Samarians as always. But Lynn, surprisingly, I didn't really care much about her character development as much as I did Elma's, which is funny because Lynn is my favorite character in X, so I think I would be very excited for her character development, but not so much. But Elma, yeah, I really enjoyed Elma's character development, being a more vulnerable and side to her. It is really nice to see. So hopefully we'll see more of that in the next game, because come on, X2 is happening, all right, and it's going to be Xenosaga 4. Elma and crew are obviously going to be, or maybe if it's not connected to Saga, we'll see him again at some point. But more development for characters like that, just kind of like a 180, it's so cool. It'd be very nice to see. Like we had that with Mithra in Torna, like Xenoblade 2. She was like such a bitch to Rex, and then In Torna, we got to learn why she was such a bitch to Rex, and she was the same way with Adam. But at the ending of at least Xenoblade 2, I'm not Torna. No, I still think she was still bitchy towards Adam and Torna. At least Xenoblade 2, she warmed up to her. And it's just nice to see characters like kind of 180 with how they present themselves. Really cool. But yeah, that's about it. See you next mission.